What is up, guys? And girls, possibly. I'm not entirely sure. We may or may not see Rodrigo here again. Guess we'll find out. I'm just waiting a second here. We'll start the official stream here in a minute or two. I'm just waiting for a couple things to finish. Give me a second. There we go. I should just do that. On that a little bit. Jack, you gotta move, buddy. Come on. There you go, boy. Jade. Alrighty, I think we are about ready to start. Like a good time. And okay, we got 2 people watching, cool. Quick question, who is I'm pretty sure I'm one of the watchers. Who's the other watcher? I have a feeling it's Rodrigo, but usually he types something in the beginning of the chat when the stream starts. So, I'm going to take this sign out because technically we are ready to start. So, what I've got here, guys, is, to my knowledge, this is now the world's smallest functioning sluice box. And not only that, it is the smallest 2-tier functioning sluice box. Yes, 2 tiers. Now, just the other day in the stream, in fact, I think it might even have been last night. Shoot, my days are running together right now. I had a single tier, and we were testing out a 10-degree angle for the bottom here. And turns out it actually works pretty well. better than I would have anticipated. But there were some things that were just about to pop over the edge on the last bit here, and some gold has probably made it into my my leftover or debris bag, which I do keep on hand, which I will run through again to make sure that I've actually got all of it. So a little bit of a background story here, and that is that off of eBay I bought I believe it was a 12-pound bag, one large giant 12-pound bag of what's called pay dirt. And I'm going to move a couple things here, so I want to give you guys the backstory and everything and show you what's going on. Okay, let's set that right there. So this is what's left over of my pay dirt. I got a 12-pound bag. It was technically, if I bought 2 5-pounds, they'd give me a 2-pound extra for free. So yeah, sure, why not? I'm going to use it for testing anyway. I don't expect there to be a lot of gold in it, but I wanted to at least have enough where it was something that I could add back into some dirt and run it through, and I would know how much I have left so I can check the efficiency of my projects. So I have, I don't know, this is maybe 2 pounds, 3 pounds left over or thereabout. This is untouched still, and we're going to run this through today. What I've already run, oh my gosh, is all of this big hefty monster thing. It's dripping water, so I'm going to put it back here in the sink. Yeah. Okay, so that I've already been through, and I did all of the dirt in that bag by hand. Now, I got a little. Let me see if I can get this where you guys can see it. See some pretty good sized nuggets in there. There is some finer gold, which I had to bring out with a pair of tweezers. But it's not a whole lot, and to be honest, I'm not sure what the value is or what mesh size, how many grams. I couldn't tell you. I will say that one thing I did do is I ordered a 100 gram at 0.01 gram resolution jeweler's scale, so that after I'm done with all of this, I can weigh what I've got and find out how much I have. Now, I'm not looking to sell it. I'm actually going to keep it, mix it back in with a set amount of dirt, and be able to run that through my sluice projects to see how efficient they are. So that's my control. So what we're going to do is we are going to run the last little bit of this, and add it to that set of gold. So let me explain the new setup that I have here, and what's changed and what benefits there are. So right off the bat, you'll notice there's a second tier and another print. What I originally did, and I have to grab it from over here, I didn't plan that part out. This is my original piece that I used in the last video. This has little riffles here on the end that aren't very tall, which is unfortunate. And I need to make my brightness bigger. I can't tell if I'm seeing it right. Okay, so you can tell that these little pockets right here aren't very tall. They're maybe 1/8 of an inch or so, 3/16, something like that. And they get full very quickly, which isn't good. Is you got to keep emptying it every couple minutes. So what happens was I raised the height of these, the whole top and everything, all the way across, up to just about twice as high, which also means that this lead-in is no longer at an angle. It's now, well, they're both the same, but it's now flat, which also prevents more stuff from getting caught in here. So I printed off 2 more, same profile. This one is just a sawtooth. In fact, I'm going to bust the camera out here. I'll show you. Stay. I still have it attached to my cord over here so I can keep it charged. So this is a simple, I believe it's a 64-degree sawtooth. I did a little bit of research and I found out this is the proper angle to use. Now, of course, you have to adjust water flow, but we're not really worried about that for this particular video. And down here, you can see the added height. It is much different than this. This is a really bad comparison, but you'll get the idea. So you see how shallow those are and how high these are. So they're going to hold a lot more material. This is designed to break the material up as it comes down, not necessarily to catch the gold, but more to break it up. And one extra deep pocket here at the end in case some gold does get to this point. If it happens to get caught up in a little bit of a current here, hopefully it'll get caught there and will be good. If not, it'll pass down through this tray right here, which is simply curved, and I have it coated in XTC 3D so it's a little more robust. It can take the constant material washing over it. Has a little bit of a lip and then continues on down this path into the original debris catch, which I had down there. From there, it'll overflow into this basin in here. This will filter it out, and with my scouring pad, I've actually added a little bit of pantyhose on one side to act as a filter to hopefully filter out a lot of that super fine silt that happened to make it through the scouring pad and was getting in here and inside the motor and the tubes and all that kind of stuff. So that's my next little safeguard. It's not necessarily something I can print, but I happen to notice it, and I'm hoping that this is some way I can fix it. For over here, let me slide this over, I have another module. Now, I'm reprinting one of these because you can tell how it's really close. You actually want it more like that. Puts a little bit of stress on the back piece here, but you need some slightly larger material to make it through here. If it's super tight like this, this can fill up and gum up the whole operation. So I'm reprinting it now. It's about 80% done. We'll get to that. Maybe not in this video, but we'll find out. This guy is the 3.5 millimeter, which is the distance between these two fins, or between any two fins here. And this is a replacement for this guy. So how this works is we take him out, drop him in, like that. And this one does fit a little bit tight. So now anything that comes down here that's more than 3.5 millimeter gets washed off the edge. Hopefully. I'm hoping there's enough momentum here that it'll carry it out and over. Now obviously I don't have anything, if it goes too slow it can hit this and fall back in, blah blah blah. I'll work on something that'll drop here that'll solve that, but for now we're going to hope that this works. So what I'm actually going to do is we're going to start off with the pass-through. So we're going to start with this guy, like this, and we're just going to feed him a little bit of material. Let's take that out. You want to bring everything back into view, like that. All right, so batteries are charged. We have no water in this. I do have a spare thing in there. Everything's good to go. All the hoses are good. I probably need to make longer hoses because it tends to be a little tight up here. But other than that, I think we are ready to go. So like I said, we're going to run what's left of my official pay dirt here that has been untouched and find out just how effective this really is. Add that to what I've already found, and when I get the chance, when my scale arrives, we will be able to weigh it and see what happens. So I know you guys don't want to hear a lot of explanation. You want to see functionality. Of course you do, because that's the fun part. So I'm going to fill this with water, and we're going to start this up. Just give me just a second. All right. Now the thing to note is that this catch bin down here, the debris catch, needs to be filled with water as well, otherwise it starts to float and push up. So we're actually going to pour some water directly up here to fill that up. Once that's full, everything else can fill, and we don't have to worry about it coming up out. So we have to be a little gentle with this one. Shouldn't take much. Okay, so he's full now. Now we're going to take this and we're going to fill it from this side. And we only want to be to about a 1/4 inch down from the top here. We don't want it to be able to come in here and get inside this section where the electrical wire is. So we'll fill it slowly, allow it a chance to pass through the filter and even out on both sides. Keep it going. And I'm actually going to fill it up just a hair higher. So I think that's pretty good right there. All right, so we're even on both sides. We don't have water in here, and I know my battery compartment's dry, so in this video, it's actually put in where it's supposed to go. Let's go ahead and turn this thing on and let it run for a second, make sure our pumps are working. All right, sounds good. Water level dropped a little bit, which is expected. This will end up leaking water. I have a small leak somewhere in this side. It's not completely sealed, and for the life of me, I don't know where that's at. It does bug me a little bit, but I'll live with it. So what we're going to do now is we are going to grab our trusty tablespoon here and our bag of pay dirt, and we are going to start funneling in using a 2-tier. So I'm sorry this is going to be shaky here for just a second. I'm going to lower this down and get a slightly better view of what's going on. So this is going to be the most unprofessional camera shake you have ever seen. Maybe, maybe not. It's pretty bad, I think. All right about there should work. And let's do that. All right, I think we're ready to go now. Here we go. And I can show you. See here on the tray, we're already leaking, which also means that over time I will have to refill this to keep it up. So, should be a good view. Let's go ahead and feed in some pay dirt. See what happens. I'm gonna start off with just a little bit. In fact, I think I just saw one go flying by. Okay, now I'm going to stop it. Well, I'm not going to stop it, but you see right here, there's a slightly larger piece that didn't make it all the way through. If I had that extra gap, see that? It would have gone right on past. So I have one, like I said, I have one printing, and we'll deal with that when we get to it. But let's run one, yeah, we'll do one more spoonful for the moment here. Now this one I'm just going to dump on, and you get to see how it handles a load. Just like that. All right, you know what? I'm going to be generous. I think I'm going to send in another one and do it the same way. I'm going to dump it on, and we'll see what happens. Okay. All right, so I can hear stuff is getting into one of the pumps because our filter is messing up, which I guess is sort of expected, but I'm going to fill this back up a little bit with some water here. Water level seems to be staying all right. All right, let's go ahead and take a look up here. I do see some gold already, and it got trapped. Actually, it got trapped really early. So this is going to be interesting. All right, for this, we're going to break the camera out. Come on, out of my tripod. Okay. I need my pointing utensil here. Or pointing implement, whatever. Where's my camera? All right, so right there, right at the tip, you can see that little piece, which now just kind of went under. It's in there. Sorry, I don't have a lot of light here. Come back up to where it was. And it is it is being an absolute pain, but it's in there. All right, where'd it go? There it is. There. So there's one piece. I'm going to open up one of my bottles here. I'm going to grab that guy. Now this is why you definitely want a snuffer bottle. Make sure I didn't lose it out here. No, it's inside. Okay. And let's go ahead and search real briefly here, see if maybe anything else has made it down. Right off the bat, I don't see anything. We've got a bit of black sand, so maybe this trap was almost too effective. I should actually swap it out for the other one that I have, which is the smaller version, but similar. So let's go ahead and take this. We're just going to set him off to the side for a minute. Just going to lay him down. And we're going to see what we've got down here. I think I already see one. I think it is. I'm not entirely sure. And that is that little guy right there. So we're going to... Yeah, it's getting shiny now. I think it is. All right, so I've got him down here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to crush him, and you see how he just becomes like a puddle here? That's not gold. Actually, we have some larger pieces. Here's one that's not gold, obviously. This is a monster chunk of mica. So we don't want that. Right off the bat, I am not seeing any others in this particular run. That's mica 2. This definitely held more material than the last one did. Okay, so let me get my tripod back here. I love this professional setup, right? All right, so I'm going to take this one out, and I'm going to empty the contents that's here into my other bag, which is what I will eventually end up rerunning. Give me a second here while I clean up. Okay. So we'll set that down. This little tray here, I'm actually going to swap him out completely for the original one that I had because I think it worked better, which is a little weird, but I'm always fine with something that works better. It's meant to really kind of stick in there, so give me a second here. That's why I'll knock that over. Okay. Like I said, again, I don't find anything in here, but we're going to rinse it out into my bag. Okay. So we're going to set that one aside, and we're going to go back to using the one that's a little bit smaller. So this, again, just goes in, and this one's a little tight, so this one kind of snaps in there. And put this guy back after we empty out the debris catch, which got a little bit, but again, it's still not enough. All right. Now again, if you push him in like this, you displace water, he overflows over the edge. Do this, fill it all the way up, and put it in. Now again, there's some silt down here, and I did hear something in the pump, so I want to make sure that everything is going to be okay. Turn it on real quick. I see what happened. Maybe a fault of mine, I'm not entirely sure. One of the pumps had his hose pop off, so he was just not doing anything. Let's go ahead. And reattach the hose. Okay. Drop him back in his place. He's still on, he's still on. My screen filter is apparently working, although it's kind of really messed up, but as long as it works, that's really all that matters. All right, so we're gonna take this guy, set him back on, take this one, turn it around, and set him back on. Now this time, I'm going to use the 3.5 mil classifying piece, which is this guy. So he's going to drop in there. Take him off the back. In. And set him down. Okay. So now we're going to have a classifier, and hopefully this will work as intended. Here we go, let's build it up. Go ahead and turn it back on. All right, all the pumps are working. I'm getting enough water flow that it's almost coming off the other side. So I'm sort of losing water out there, sort of not, but it's not too bad. Let's go ahead and toss in some pay dirt. Let's see what happens with this. Okay, well, so it does work. As you can tell, it ends up spitting an amount over the edge. It does seem to get caught in here a little bit. And of course, over time, that's going to gum up. So we need a slightly better way of doing that, so I'll probably not use the classifier piece on this anymore. So we're actually going to swap back over to the pass-through instead of the classify. So I'll have to rethink that design, but you never know unless you try it. And I do a lot of my tests live, so this is how we find out. Now I don't have it sitting obviously on that back part there. I have it sitting back a little bit, just so that I have more clearance here. Go ahead and do this again. All right, oops, and all working. Water level actually needs to go up a little bit because we're losing water. Like that. So something is attempting to get into one of the pumps, but we'll get to that point here in a minute. Let's go ahead and feed it some more. Now I do notice that we're starting to pile up right here. Kind of disturb that a little bit, let it pass through. And let's do another pretty heavy dump right on it, and I'll show you what it does. Just like that. So let's move in a little bit closer and show you what it looks like from the top. I may have to go up a little bit here. Okay, so here's what just a plain old dump would look like. It's like that. I happen to spill a bunch all over the counter, which kind of irks me, but it's all right. Another dump. So this is generally how fast we can run through this. Now, you will notice the water level here is already up over the top because this filter is full. So we're going to shut this down. Notice the water level is starting to very slowly come back up. That means it's time to change out our filter. So the filter actually looks like it did a pretty good job, but the pantyhose, even being only one layer, is restricting water flow quite a bit. So I'm going to go rinse this in the sink real quick. All right, come back. And we'll just dump them right in. All right. So I'm really quickly going to look over this while I have it stopped. See if I have anything that sticks out of my eye here. And I do have something. I'm not going to pull it off, pull the camera out right this second for this one. I'm going to check and make sure here. It's just easier not to hold the... So that is one. Pretty sure that's one. Yep. So that's two pieces in the upper tray. There's one, maybe three actually. Now that I'll look at it. That might be one right there. almost. Almost. Woo! He went away. Okay, that's not one. So without getting too much into extremely fine detail, there are two more pieces that I found. So I'm going to go ahead and add these to that container. All right. Just lift this. Set him right there for a minute. I'm going to check the bottom. Now, I got a lot of big pieces down here. Nothing off the bat that catches my eye. There's a lot of black sand down here, a lot of blonde. So if it is here, it's going to be buried on the bottom side of these little riffles here. Now you could also take a magnet here and pull out black sand if you want to do a little bit more with it. That's not gold, that's mica. Okay, so that is not, no, that's mica, okay. Okay, so I'm not seeing any that's made it all the way down here. What's that? Mica also. All right, so that's all for right here. I'm gonna go ahead and empty this tray out. And we have to empty out the debris catch again. Now, if you had a bucket or a large bag that you could fill with water, you could simply put this entire thing in it, shake it, and that would clean it out. I don't happen to have that, so that's not an option for me, at least not here. Okay. That emptied out. Put them back on. This guy back on there. Then I need to get this one out so I can clean out this tray. I really should make a way that you can get these out a little bit easier. Unfortunately, I haven't done that. So, you know, things to add to the list. But you learn from what you do. That's just how you do it. Right. Go ahead and drop them back in here. Like that. Turn them around. Set them down. All right. We have enough water. Turn it on. Sure, water flow's right. All pumps working. Let's go again. Let's feed some more. So again, I'm going to do the, basically I'm just going to dump it and let it figure out the finer points here. Man, that's beautiful. All right. So you can actually put a fair amount of material through this relatively quickly. Now, there is going to be another version. How soon I get to work on that, I don't know yet. That will basically be expandable in a profile similar to this, but it'll be expandable and allowed to sit on top of a 5-gallon bucket. The pumps will just kind of dangle at the top, but still underwater, so it stays clean and always picks up clean water, and the material can fall off over the edge with little pieces that maybe stick out so that this thing can sit on top. For the most part, I want to reuse as much of this design as possible, which means as little designing as possible on my end, because that takes a long time. And I don't want to have to prototype a million different pieces. That gets expensive with filament, electricity, time. It's a little difficult. All right, now we'll okay. Just hoping the spoon will stay dry, but all right, let me take a real quick look here and see what I've got. Probably nothing, but if we do, there's some finer gold I'm willing to bet. Looks like there might be a couple things all the way down here at near the end of the bottom tray. But we are nearing the end of our pay dirt here, so we're just going to go ahead and as much as I can, we're going to feed some more material into this. Man, I love how well that works. All right. Okay, let's feed some more. Now, of course, you can see that as I just dump it on, it tends to spill over the edge because the lips on the outside aren't high enough. So you kind of have to be a little bit graceful with it. Let's look down at the bottom. I see one piece getting caught in a current. It's near the top, and it's near the top of the bottom tray. Quite a bit of black sand, actually. I don't see anything up top. I definitely like this riffle design better, so I may improve that a little bit and print off a couple more. We'll find out. All right, water levels are still looking good. I only have about 7 or 8 more spoonfuls of pay dirt left. Looks like my debris catch might be about at capacity now. So it looks like we're going to have to stop it here. And let's have a look-see. See if we got anything. I think I got one actually all the way at the very top, very first riffle up here. And I do. All right. So there's one. Get that on. Let's look at the rest of what's here. So unless it's sitting inside of this black sand, I don't see it. All right, so that's it, I think, for the top. At least all that I'm worried about right now. We got down here. I think there's one right there. For some reason I'm not able to pick it up. Oh, there's another piece. And you might think this stuff is insignificant when you get something that's that small. And for the most part it is. But of course, it adds up over time, hopefully. I do also have a container of dirt that I got from my local creek within earshot here of the house. I can tell you I almost 100% expect to find no gold in that whatsoever. From what I understand, this is just not an area that would have any. It's wrong. I do live in Ohio, so we are close, but that's more down toward the Ohio River, out west, stuff like that. Okay, so right off the bat, this bottom tray, I do not see any. So again, it's time to empty out each of the trays here. Now when I do the runs again, I'll have a lot more black sand, and a lot of this larger stuff will all be gone, which kind of makes things a little bit easier. So there's a better chance of seeing the gold when running it through a second time. All right, let me grab out. There we go. Because of the dirt, it really sticks in there pretty well. Now I did have a vial that has nothing but black sand in it. That's not something I think I'm going to use. I need to move stuff over a minute because I need to empty out this tray. It is leaking. I've got water buildup here. So I'll be off camera for just a second. That'll help make it easier to do the tray the next time. All right. So, tray's back in. Debris catch, completely full. Actually, it was overflowing. All right. And I need to completely empty out all of the water from this main box here. That's just too much, I think, and it's all dirty. So I'm literally just going to take it and dump it. All right. Now I know this is off camera, so you guys will have to give me a second. I'm going to rinse out what's here into a bag, and then I will be back on camera. I'm just emptying the leftover silt and other things that were not caught by the debris catch back into the bag so I can hopefully keep as much as possible. Okay. So that should do pretty well there. All right, let's go ahead and bring it back in. I should probably empty out this entire tray too. See, this is why I definitely need to figure out where it's leaking from. All right. So we're sort of back in business now. Let me go ahead and reconnect everything. It's a little rough, but that's all right. Rinse this out a little better. Okay. So actually we can start off with filling up the debris catch right off the bat like that. Take this guy, set him down. Take our vertical piece here. Put him on. Take our upper tray. Come on, hose, go that way. Set him on like this. He's not. There we go. Like that. That's on. I'm actually going to move him back just so we have some room. Fill him up with water. So in this case, I'm going to bring out my hose from the kitchen here. All right, that should be sufficient. Let's go ahead and move this back into frame. There's so much underneath it. Whoop, back here. Okay, and we can continue to feed more dirt. Come here, you. All right, so we had a little bit of water or a little bit of debris in the pump, but it seems to be okay. Got 3 washers now. All right, so you get to see the 2-tier system functioning. Oh, need a drink. Okay. And dry off the spoon so it's good. And like I said, we have very little pay dirt left. This is all we've got, so we're going to run the last of this through, and we're going to see what comes of it. Slightly larger pieces there. Now I should be able to run all of this through and not have to empty it again. I don't know what this is. I'm going to leave him out. Rodrigo, buddy, there you are. Yes. Yes, and now it's 2 floors. It does seem to be much more effective this way because at the bottom I'm still getting black sand, which means that black sand was passing through when I had a single layer. So again, if you just dump it, does its own little business, so you can kind of see right down there that if you let it sit long enough, it'll disturb the flow and send pieces it doesn't need over. So, man, I have so little left. I actually am going to dump it into a bowl, and then from there dump that into the sluice, because I can no longer get the spoon in the bottom of the bag. So give me a chance, let me a second here, let me turn the edges of this bag inside out. Nothing gets caught. Make sure I got it all. All right. There we go. All right. So this is officially all that we have left. There's the bottom of the bowl. Not much here. So go ahead and toss it in. See what happens. See how much gold is left in this. I think we should be able to filter out a fair amount. Now, I'm going to do an experiment since I happen to have all of this here. Well, no, I'm not. I was going to dump all this in, but I don't want it to trip up on itself and throw what could be gold over the end of the last part. So we are gonna go slow here. And that's it. That's all we got. Hey, is that a big piece? No, it's just the way it was dancing in the light. Oh, come on. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna let this run for a second. We are still getting some pieces down here that are slowly breaking apart and going over the edge. I'm gonna add the gold that I have found to my original vial real quick. Come on. All right, hopefully that almost all of them out of there. One stubborn little guy down here at the bottom. It's just being a pain. I see you. Come on, buddy. Okay. I feel like I'm in a chemistry lab doing this. You know what I'm saying? Finally come out. Yes, it did. Okay. Set him aside. And the lid back on this guy. Alright, so we could probably take this down here. I actually found a fair amount in here. There you go. This is a pretty good shot. Look at that. It's not too bad. But again, I don't know how much it is. I'm looking at this. I'm going to take some of the old dirt that I ran through before, and I'm going to toss it in here just to see if maybe there's some more that can be done. See how much more filtering out can happen here. And one more partial spoonful here of old dirt. As you can tell, we have a little bit of backup right here. Slowly cleans out. I'm getting a lot of black sand down there though. That's pretty cool. And let's do another one because my debris catch is not full yet. Let those last two on the bottom kind of clear out a little bit before we put in another. The eventual goal is to be able to do this, but not have to constantly clean out the trap at the bottom. Eventually, obviously, that's the idea. So, now, like I said, you can go through this constantly. Just keep feeding it, and just feed it and refeed it and refeed it and refine it until you have what you want. You don't need to classify it. A little bit of backup right there, and that's the good thing about this little open window right here. You can kind of reach in and disturb some of it. And let's go ahead. All right, debris catch is almost full, so I'm going to give it one more of the old dirt here. Actually, it looks like we're still doing pretty good. Water level's still safe. We don't seem to be, for some odd reason, we don't seem to be leaking now. I don't understand why that is. Water level's still safe. All right, let's go ahead and feed another. I mean, if this will keep taking it, that's cool. There we go. Let the last couple of runs there clean out. So as they clean out, you get a little bit more water flow toward the end, which allows the end to also clean out a bit more. There we go. See, it's now starting to go. Oh, there goes a big chunk. Okay. Looks like we're doing pretty good. Give me a second. I need a drink, and we'll feed some more, because I'm actually having fun doing this. Yes. Okay. Now I'm hoping that there's a... Well, it's got some pretty good black sand in there. I'm hoping to find a few more pieces, would be kind of nice. In fact, I think I see one. I do see one. Let me grab my... Oh, come on, vial. Let's grab one here. So we're actually doing pretty good. See, when I run it through a second time, this is old dirt now. Running it through a second time, I find more. There's another one. Okay. Now that's just on the upper tray. Looking at the bottom tray, I think I see some very fine, some extremely fine gold. It's got a bit of a shadow under there, it's hard to tell. Let me move this here. Let's have a look. Yes, there's a couple very fine pieces, and I would be fighting on camera for a while to get them out with my tweezers, so I'm not going to bother with that here. Here is a slightly larger piece that I can get. Not huge, but every little bit counts, remember. And what we're seeing now is how much is left in the old dirt during a second pass through. So I now know that this is not, at least with one tier, is not 100% efficient. And a lot of what came out of that bag was done by hand, which means it's definitely not 100% efficient even when doing it by hand. Rodrigo. Yes, and black sand is much heavier. I do have a vial of it It's magnetic. Most of it is, at least anyway. I do have a vial of it somewhere. I think it's out in the garage. But yes, so this dang. Okay. So I'm simply using this to clear out the trays and we can go again. There's going to be a lot of black sand in here. I'm just telling you now, there's going to be a lot. All right, now obviously since I disturbed it, now we're leaking water from wherever the heck that leak is from. I still don't know. Let me empty this one. Oh wow, look at that. All right, so you can tell here that all of this buildup is what I need to get rid of. So we're going to do the same thing again, just because I don't want to completely clog everything. We are going to pull all this out. Empty out the bin, like that. And then hopefully I can get all of that into this bag. So give me a second. Ugh. Water out of this bag here. Okay. And if I can do this, and this is another thing I need to obviously work on, is being much more effective at cleaning this stuff out. All right. I didn't apparently get all of it. I got most of it. This is fine. All right. So, obviously you can tell there's a lot of cleanup involved with this. Ooh, that was close. Let's bring that over the sink. All right. There's the tray. Tray is clean. Let's take this guy, put him back. I'm assuming, Rodrigo, you're the one that's still here. You tend to be, so let's go ahead and reassemble and we will run some more. I think I am going to not put in the debris catch tray on this one, or the catch box, whatever. So it's going to be a little different. It's going to sit like this. And I think my print upstairs is actually done. Give me half a minute here. It is done, I will be right back downstairs. All right. So, if you're still with me, cool. Okay, so hot off the printing press, actually, is this guy. And you'll notice he looks almost exactly the same as this one. So what the difference here is this little notch right here. So I want to show you, actually I need to clean that out even a little bit more. Give me a second. Okay. So, here's what it is. When this guy's installed, this, as you'll notice, has a very small gap. There's almost nothing to work with there, which means debris can get caught and lodged in there and not pass through very well. We're going to fix that. To do that, we're going to take the new piece with the notch in it, drop it in, and yes, it's meant to be a little bit tight, like that. Take him, set him on, and attach the back. Now notice the gap. That's because you can see right here, it can't come forward anymore. It has to at least be that far away, which allows all of your bigger stuff to come through. If you're putting anything bigger than what goes in that slot through this thing, you're using it for the wrong purpose. And while I happen to think about it, I need to rinse out this guy. Never did that. So since I know you're Rodrigo, you're the one watching, how much interest would you have in buying one of these? Before you answer, let me say that there are some things to consider, and one is the amount of time it would take me to make the entire thing, all of its components and parts, as of the time that you obviously send payment. I have to wait for another spool of hose, as the amount I have I'm probably going to have to use, and I need to buy 3 more pumps, which tend to take about 5 days or so to get here. I do coat the inside of this with XTC 3D and the riffle mats and everything with that, so that they're much more durable. And that takes about a day turnaround time for drying and painting and everything. So you're not looking to be pretty cheap, but what would you think? Is this something that you might be interested in? while he's thinking about that, let's go ahead and set our guy back up here. The hose is very sticky to itself. There we go. And also, I want you to notice, see this? Where it's kind of looking dull-ish? That's not the difference where it's dry. That's because that's where the material what we're putting in is eating away at the XTC 3D finish. Can you imagine what that would do to the PLA after a while? So it may end up being that I have to put in more than one coat on each of these trays. Something to think about. So let's go ahead and we're going to fill it back up. And we're going to run some more, this time without the catch tray. Whoops. On. And see, hopefully, what we can get with this. I'm going to dig up some from the bottom here. Just kind of stir it up a little bit. So I have something to take from all nasty and dirty. All right. Get some of this water out of here. All right. There's that. Let's go ahead and fill this up. And now since we don't have the debris catch tray in here, we can now fill this up and not have to worry about filling up that tray first and having it pop out. So we can literally just fill this right here. To about a quarter inch from the top. Because remember, the water level will drop once you start it. All right. Batteries should all be good. Let's go ahead and power it on. See what Rodrigo said over here. Okay, fair enough. Actually, that's not a bad way to look at it. Being skeptical about using a credit card online is understandable, which is one reason that I work with PayPal. So you don't necessarily have to use your credit card. You can use that instead, and then fill that up separately with money from a bank account. So that's how I have my buying and everything set up. I do that through Amazon, eBay, pretty much anywhere that takes PayPal is how I do it. So I don't actually give out actual credit card numbers, expiration dates, and CVV codes. I don't do that. So, yes, people doing this in rivers and streams, and obviously they're getting a lot more, they're pushing through a lot more material, which effectively becomes better, really. But that's not what we're doing here. So we're going to gather some more, and let's see what this produces. I'm just going to keep going until I feel that it's full. That's how this is going to go. Oh. Something's getting into one of the pumps, although it's still working. Now remember, I don't want to completely destroy this. I do want to take this on vacation, and I don't have time to order another pump. So I do need to be careful with these, although I have an idea how I can solve this dilemma, but that'll have to happen in a future version, which means I'll have to reprint the entire main box, unfortunately. So I may have mentioned this before, that the money and profits from this, from selling these, would go toward the time and effort to build something larger or better, more efficient, etc. And hopefully, if I can do it, cheaper. I hate to sell these things for, unfortunately, we're looking at about $180 to $200 to even make this worth my time. And I know not a lot of people are going to buy it. That's fine. I am still enjoying it myself, which is really cool, especially if I can take it with me. So let's, I wish I had some background music, you know, just make this stream interesting. This thing's really handling this like a champ. I love this. I get a lot of black sand all the way down there at the bottom. I guess I almost feel like I should have started with that, rather than have the small one up top. I guess I probably should have put the big one up at the top. In fact, you know what? Let me let this run clear out a little bit down here at the bottom, and I'm going to switch the two trays around. Okay. So before I do that, I'm really quickly going to look here and see if I see anything new. I do not on the top tray. And the bottom tray, that looks like mica, but for the most part, I'm not seeing anything. Okay. So, yeah, unfortunately this print did stick really well. We've got a fair amount in here. I'm just gonna push this down here, and we're gonna swap these two trays around. Like that. Like this. Just gonna wedge right in there. This guy. Sit there. Reattach the pump. I said reattach the pump. Okay, so that's one thing I am seeing, and I'm not sure why, but that one's extremely loose fitting in here. So I'm going to take, sort of cheating I guess, but take a piece of paper or an old piece of card. I'm going to wedge it in here just to sort of make this tighter. Which for some reason is not working as well as I'd like. Okay, there we go. So let's go ahead and turn it on. Okay, so now what should happen is we're going to trap a lot more material here, and this at the bottom, seeing as it has these smaller riffles, should trap some of the finer stuff, and a lot of your black sand and other things should all end up down there. One thing I am noticing is that when you start up, you're getting some air pockets here. If you kind of push it in and fill them in, it has a chance to create the little current that's what traps everything. So now that we have this back up and running, let's go ahead and try out the new setup with the riffle mats reversed. Large up top, small in the bottom. Now it does seem to clear through quite a bit faster, mostly because your momentum is all up here, blowing it over the taller riffles, and by the time it gets down here, It slowed down a little bit, hopefully allowing the black sand to get caught better. And that is much quicker. Much, much quicker. Now I definitely don't have enough room in this unit to feed the entire 12 pounds of dirt and have it not have to be cleaned out, so I'll do what I can. We are about to okay. So I'm feeling like it's time to have a look at a bunch of mica, but I don't see any new gold, at least not up top. Put this down here. We come down to this side. Quite a bit of black sand has ended up down here, especially in these last two. And these last two have stronger angles here rather than these shallow angles that are here. So I may make all of these have the sharper parts to them to trap more black sand, I think. That's probably what I'm going to do. So one thing is that we are getting extremely close right here to having a bunch of material, and I need some way to empty it out because our water level is getting a little too high. And I definitely want to lift this up. Since I didn't really like this particular one, I'm going to use this to block it up a little bit. So we need to remove a bunch of this material. I need to find something to get it out with. Jack, come on, move, buddy. Out of the way. Let's see. What can I use and not get in trouble with? Oh, I don't know. Will this fit? Let's try this. So this isn't terribly effective. So I need to find something else. Sorry, this is going to be a bit of a lame part in the stream. You know what? That's actually not a bad idea. I might contact a couple schools about it, see if they'd like either a batch or one or two or something to use as like a physics instruction type thing. That might actually be kind of cool. Yeah, that's definitely a good idea. So I still need to clean this out, unfortunately. And I'm starting to run out of good ideas here without taking the entire thing apart. Which is not at all what I want to do. Will this fit? Oh, there we go. Now we're talking. Bingo. Found it to be effective. You know, I'd crap myself, I think, if I found a really big piece in here. So what I'm going to do to make this easier, at least for me, And yes, this would be a great use of physics. All right, there's that emptied out. Sorry about the bounce on the camera there. All right, so that's what I'm talking about by quickly cleaning the mount, just like that. I do need to find a better way to make this so that it stays tighter, unfortunately. I'm not finding that current methods are being really helpful. And this is like the super cheap way of doing this. So this is one thing obviously I need to continue working on. So let's go ahead and put it all back. I do want to prop up the other side here. I'll just use a toothbrush, whatever. And this guy right there. Nice and tight. Water level seems good. All right. Let us continue, shall we? I'm sure eventually I will find something. Not that I expect to find anything this quick, but I'm going to look while it's still running after the first spoonful here. A fair amount of black sand, and very little is making it now down into the bottom, which is good. All right. Honestly, I don't expect to find a whole lot more gold than what I found panning by hand or what I put through the sluice that was fresh. But, you know, obviously if we find some, that's it's never a bad thing. That kind of clear out. And I do like how I can pretty much just dump. And within about 5 seconds or so, it's completely clear, ready for the next one. I really need some background noise. In fact, I'm gonna go get my laptop here hooked up to Bluetooth. All settings. What? Okay. I'm gonna hook up to my JBL boombox and get a little bit of background noise going here, because it seems awfully boring, but I don't want to have it so loud that it's overriding everything. All right, turn it on. See if it shows up here. A whole bunch of unknown devices. Let me hit Bluetooth here. It should start showing up. JBL boombox, there we are. In case you're curious, last night I literally backed everything up off the laptop and I wiped the drive and I started completely fresh. It should start. Whoa. JBL boombox, there we are. Okay, so so I don't need it to be a live preview. I'm just using that. Educational games, chemistry for kids, experimental things. It's called Neil Garrett. You know what? I'm gonna look that up. Not right now. Obviously I'm in the middle of the stream, but I am gonna save that search, and I will get to that. So in the meantime, let me look up, say, relaxing. Oh. I don't know, just plain relaxing music. How about that? 2 hours and 59 minutes worth. All right. We'll see. Hopefully that doesn't get too loud. Let's go ahead and turn this back on, and let's keep going. That's a lot better. I like having the background noise. It's not so monotonous anymore. So I'm not going to talk the entire time, but I'm just going to keep doing this, so hopefully it's relaxing to you too. I'm going to turn that sound up a little bit. So I had to stop it because what we have is a bit of overflow and all of my debris is now back up at the top again. So real quick, I'm gonna just take a look here. I see another one already. Where'd it go? Right there. Not as minor as you can get, but as you can tell, I've just been non-stop feeding it dirt. Almost non-stop at least. drench some of that down. Like that. Just see if I can expose any more. That all looks like mica. Yes, it is. Okay. So the top up here. That's pretty much done there. See if we got anything down here. Maybe a very, very, very fine piece down there, but I'm not. Honestly, I don't care about that. Okay, so I'm going to take this, empty these two trays in here. That tray is empty now. That tray is empty. So easy as that. And you'll notice that we are completely full up to here, which is why I was having so much trouble. Yeah. So we need to scoop out some more again. We got down here. We still got a fair amount down under there. A lot more than I think I'd like. Okay. Take the filter. Very little silt left on this side, so actually the filter's been doing an amazing job. Let's go ahead and reconnect. Put everything back up here. Just like that. And I need to give it a little bit more water. Here's one thing I do need to watch, is that right here, this battery pack, is that the battery pack stays dry. We don't want that getting wet, which means I may need to eventually change how this is all placed. I'm not worried about water getting in here. There's a hole in the bottom of that. There's a hole in the bottom of this, but not for this one. So if I need to eventually drill a hole in my own box to get the water to drain if any gets in, I guess I could do that, but I'd rather not if I don't have to. So we should all be ready to go here. Now, a little water in there isn't going to hurt you. And water's getting a little cloudy, so it kind of sucks, but let's go ahead and do some more. If that's getting too loud, let me know in the background. Make sure I cap this back up. I don't want to lose any of the gold that I found. That would not be good. And you guys will notice that with the AA batteries that I've been using, I've been running almost non-stop and we're still at full power. The great thing about this is these batteries really last a long time, and these pumps are extremely efficient. Now I could probably add in some more pumps or make a single pump, which I might do in a future version, would make things a little bit easier to work with. But this is definitely going to have to undergo some design changes. But for the most part, we are functional. So, I mean, that, after all, that is the main idea here. Wish I could figure out some form of self-feeding box. That'd be really cool. See if we found anything new here. I think I did, actually. Out of the way. Grab my vial. That is right. Yes, I did. Little tiny piece. Spill that. Let's move it out of the way. And that was on the top tray. Some glass pieces in here. Nothing monstrous, which I wouldn't really expect anyway. Okay, we're like just briefly going to turn that on. Alright. As the water subsides from this, I can look at this and determine if I got anything new. It doesn't look like anything worth probing for on this one. About the bottom. What do we got down here? That might be one right there. Yeah. I probed it and I lost it. Nope, that's mica. Go ahead and empty these trays out. Alright guys, well in order to take a phone call I have to end the stream, so check back another time, we will go over some more of this and we'll have more fun.